for consideration now. The Human Resources Coordinator that I've labeled it is a staff assistant within the Town Administrator's office, and that person reports directly to the Town Administrator and is responsible for the custody and confidentiality of employee personal information relating to payroll deductions, benefit program participation, accrued leaves, data, performance reviews, discipline, and other similar information. The person also administers contracts for health insurance, life insurance, and other employee benefits that are provided in a similar manner. This person would also provide the primary source of information for employees regarding benefits programs and their personnel records. This person would also assist general government employees with determination of eligibility for specific benefits and changes in employee status having to do with their health insurance and other benefit programs, as well as sick leave and vacation leave and things of that sort. This position would also be responsible for designing, developing, implementing, and maintaining efficient systems and procedures for records generation and maintenance having to do with employees' benefits, their attendance, their uses of the various leaves that they have available to them. The person would also be responsible for developing data pertaining to employee pay and benefits levels, something that is one of our weakest points at this stage in time, where we are unable to do sufficient research in order to determine what adequate pay levels are. That has to do a lot with our collective bargaining preparation, as well as our justification for pay rates when it comes time for that. And finally, the person would be responsible for the timely and cost-effective administration of job-related injury and illness claims. There has been quite a history in North Reading that we're just coming across right now of these types of claims not being administered well. We're trying to get a lot of that straightened out at this point, but we just don't have sufficient staff to be able to accomplish it. The general government employee personnel records are all maintained at the various department locations at this point in time. It's my plan and hope that eventually we'll be able to bring all of those records into a central depository and have one person who not only maintains those and keeps them up to date, but keeps a calendar and makes certain that the performance evaluations happen on a timely basis, they're recorded in writing, and that the employees have open access to their records.
Does the Finance Committee wish to speak on their motion to amend? Mrs. Vaca.
Right. In the same line item with the Human Service Coordinator is also monies for an administrative assistant to the Town Hall, which is a job upgrade. And we've received job descriptions for both these positions, and there's a description in both of them that are the same. And what Mr. Daly was talking about, responsible for confidentiality of employees and personnel information relating to payroll deductions and benefit programs, are under the job descriptions for the administrative assistant as well as the human resource coordinator. And also at this time, we cannot justify adding additional staff. If we don't have the money now and our future budgets can't support them, we would be looking at layoffs and unemployment insurance. We feel that an organization chart with job descriptions and a long-range plan should be reviewed for the entire town hall and not piecemealing departments and personnel.
Is there any further discussion? Mr. Pasquale.
John Pasquale, 12 Relay. Mr. Daly, I refer to Article 22, which is the quote, the pension and benefits. Mr. Pasquale has done...
You're talking about line item 22 or Article 22?
Article 22.
Article 22.
It's line item number 2.
Line item.
Line item. That's what I thought.
What I've done, Mr. Daly, is pension and benefits. I took your numbers and broke that apart because I'm very interested to know what portion of every one of those line items belongs to the school department. And what the calculation comes out is that 51% of the items that are there out of that, quote, 1774309 are attributed to the school department. or better still, it's $904,850, which goes on top of the school budget, first of all. So I don't favor you putting anybody to do benefits, because we have more than enough people in the school department, in that business office. They ought to be doing it. And I'll come up here with the data. I would like to present the data.
You would like to present the data? Will you be able to do that within your 5 minutes, Mr. Pasquale?
I'm very quick talking. And I would like Mr. Daly, if I may ask Mr. Daly for another thing, if he could just give me the total number of employees who work in the town. I already have the school department data. Thank you.
Mr. Daly, do you wish to answer Mr. Pasquale's question?
How many bodies, general government?
The general government employs, I believe it's somewhere between 108 and 112 persons to fill 100.7 full-time positions, I believe it is, full-time equivalents.
108? What I'm presenting here, ladies and gentlemen, why I refer to this article, when it comes time for me to defend my position about the school, what you're not aware of is there's a considerable amount of money that's put in this particular article to the tune of $904,850. That's all of the different benefits. There's nothing wrong with putting it in the account, but you have to be made aware of it. What that means to the school department is that it's 10.4% in benefits to every employee. Now, the reason I asked Mr. Daly the question, how many employees, I went and counted. I came up with half, there's about 118. So if you had 118, the benefits to every employee in the town government on average is $7,000. So when you're thinking salaries, ladies and gentlemen, or adding people, quote, on the town government, it can run from $7,000 incognito. Those other numbers mean 150 if he told me 150 or 200, so I was prepared. So that translates over here, the breakdown for the school. They got 199 employees. They have their budget. You go and break that down by the percentage. You divide it by there, and you can see that we have some administration where, on an average, it's getting $9,000 in benefits. Or go up here. Don't touch the teachers. Hear what I said? Nobody consider touching anything with teachers in this town. But look what some of this data puts. So everybody, keep it in mind. For the school, it's 10.4. So ask Mr. Daly, what is the percentage that town employees get above their salaries? Thank you very much, Mr. Daly, for the information.
Is there any further discussion? Gentlemen in the rear, please state your name and address, sir.
Ed Barlow, 1 Old Knoll Road. This 104,000, does that include your salary and the person you're trying to hire's salary?
Mr. Daly?
I don't even know what he's talking about.
That 104,000, is that your salary
I wish it was.
and the person you're trying to hire's salary?
That accounts for my salary, my secretary's salary, and this part-time position. This part-time position would be paid at about $10,500.
Okay, if we remove this part-time position, what would the number be? If you don't get that, if the town doesn't vote for that, what would that number go down to? From 104
It would be
to what?
104 less 10.
So you
Make
and the
it 94.
secretary are splitting $94,000.
Yes?
Of that 94,000, how much of it?
Excuse me, there is some overtime built into that as well, and there's a pay adjustment there.
How much of the 94,000 approximately is your salary?
It's exactly $62,620.
That's if we voted this way. What was your salary last year before this was appropriated?
Exactly the same.
So you're not getting a raise in this money.
That's correct.
Are you getting a raise of any kind and any money in this warrant?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Mrs. Belmonte?
I'd like to point out, Mr. Barletta, in that 94,000, there would be a position upgrade increase for Mr. Daly's secretary. He'd be changing the name to administrative assistant with an upgrade in money.
Any further discussion? Okay, we have before us a motion, a main motion, and a motion to amend. We will dispose first of the motion to amend. The motion to amend is a motion by the Finance Committee to reduce the main motion, which was for $104,000 for line item number 9, down to $90,600, with $82,600 to be raised and appropriated, and $8,000 to be transferred from water revenue. If you vote in favor of the amendment, you're voting in favor of reducing the main motion down to the $90,600. If you vote against the amendment, you're voting in favor of retaining it at the $104,000 level. On the motion to amend, all those in favor of amending, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The motion is carried. On the motion as amended now, which is $90,600 as recommended basically by the Finance Committee. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the main motion, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? You carry. Line item number 10, Mr. Daly.
Mr. Moderator,
Sorry, line item 9. The chair stands corrected.
No, you just did 9.
The chair does not stand corrected. It is line item 10.
Mr. Moderator, I move to appropriate the sum of $36,000 for line number 10, as printed in the sponsor recommends column, with any noted transfers as printed in the warrant.
You've heard the motion. Does the Finance Committee have a recommendation? Mrs. Belmonte?
Finance Committee recommends.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. On the main motion, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Unanimous. Line item number 11. Mr. Daly.
Mr. Moderator, I move to appropriate the sum of $141,000 for line number 11, as printed in the sponsor recommends column, with any noted transfers as printed in the warrant.
You've heard the motion. Does the Finance Committee have a recommendation? Mr. Dodge.
Mr. Moderator, I move to amend line 11, salary pool supplement, to $38,000 to be raised and appropriated.
You've heard the motion to amend, which is a Finance Committee recommendation. On the main motion, Mr. Daly.
Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, the difference between the Finance Committee's recommendation and that of the Selectmen in this particular line item is the third number in the column there, which is $103,000 set aside by the Selectmen in this budget for compensation changes to be made available to the general government employees. This is only the general government employees. It does not include school department employees. The philosophy employed here is that within the affordability quotient of the town's economic situation, this amount is considered by the Selectmen to be an affordable amount for such changes. And if the town meeting should appropriate this amount, then I, as the chief negotiator for the Selectmen in determining what our collective bargaining settlements might come in at, would have a number with which I can work within in order to settle these contracts for fiscal year 93. Otherwise, the bargaining that I will be doing will be somewhat unguided in the respect that there won't be any limits within which I can clearly do the bargaining that I have to do and that I can